Why it's important to participate in the 2020 census? Native Americans are still the only race in our history that's had to prove their blood quantum. And with blood quantum requirements still changing, some of us suffer the fate of being disenrolled by our tribes. We wouldn't be able to claim any cultural identity. It's important for us to be seen and to be heard, and those of you that are not enrolled members, you are able to participate in this forum. And we need your votes to count because we want you to be seen, we want you to be heard, and we want to be able to make a difference for the next generations.
The census is really important for all of our people that need and use the resources that tribal communities receive. I can give you an example. And one year our tribe had an outbreak of the flu really bad, and we didn't have enough vaccinations to cover everyone. So I had to get a hold of the area office and also the Portland Area Indian Health Board. They put out a request to other tribes, and the Shoban of Idaho brought our tribe 250 vaccinations. If our people would have been taking the census count serious, we probably would have had enough census vaccinations to cover the sickness. Really a life-threatening experience when our people get the flu. You know, we've lost way too many in the years. With this new virus that's coming, it's really scary. I want to make sure that all our people are counted so that if something like that ever happens, that we have the resources to save our people's lives.
The data from our census every 10 years is so important. It determines what resources are allocated to Indian country, both in reservation, rural, and urban settings. If we're not counted, we are not going to be able to receive the kind of support that our families, our communities, and our nations deserve. Now is not the time to be made invisible. It is so important that every person completes the census. It's a simple process this year, and I really hope that you make sure your household and you as an individual and you as a tribal person are counted. When I think about the census, I think there's more to it than just marking down the answers to 10 questions. The census has been going on for a long time. And for my family, it's been an important part of being able to look back and see our history and our story. For example, if you complete the census, your information is de-identified and no one will be able to link your name to your information until 72 years from now. As a Native American person, my family history is very important, and there are many reasons why there have been missing links in the communication and the storytelling of our family history. When I look back in the census, I'm able to see remarkable stories. I'm talking about census rolls in the 1930s and the 1940s. I'm talking about census rolls that tell the story of where your ancestors were, what they were doing, and what their families looked like, what their household looked like. In my family, I was able to see a story of two sisters that went to boarding school. As many know, boarding school is a very, very challenging area for our Indian people. And I was able to see through school records that one of those sisters had passed away while at home and was not able to return to school. However, in looking at the census records, I was able to see that that sister did not actually pass away. Her family, my family, was able to hide her and keep her from having to return to boarding school because she shows up on the census record year after year after that.
My name is Taylor Berton. I'm a Gros Ventre tribal member, and my grandmother is Tony Lodge. She taught me that the first U.S. census of the indigenous populations was in 1850. Since then, the U.S. government has used the U.S. Census and Dawes Allotment Act of 1887 as legal documents to enroll every tribal citizen in this country. When we get counted in the next 100 years, our descendants will be able to use the census records to find their American Indian or Alaska Native connection to our political affiliations of tribal membership. We will keep our Indianness alive by counting ourselves and our families. Indigenous people have historically been undercounted and underrepresented due to the United States' legacy of colonization and genocide. Our tribal families were ashamed, scared, and oftentimes killed for representing the American Indian or Alaska Native ways of being. The act of being counted as an American Indian, Alaska Native, Indian, Native, tribal citizen, or indigenous person living in the U.S. is both an act of preservation and resistance to the historical genocide of this country. Indigenous peoples being counted will directly impact the U.S. government's allocations to our current and future American Indian or Alaska Native generations to come. So my ask is, please get counted.